If you do your research, you can find what some great improvisers say about the zone, this place where they put their minds, where they're performing effortlessly, doing the most amazing things. But nobody really takes the time to talk about what the terrible musicians do, the bed shitters, the train wrecks, and to understand that is key to improving. If you find that your level of performance plummets the moment you're playing with people and you're outside of your practice room, one of these things might be happening to you. Level number 1, and the lowest possible headspace for a musician, is called don't fuck up. This is all fear-based, anxiety-based, and you're really still outside of the music. If you find that you're playing music with people and your mind is telling you, oh, don't mess up this chord, this chord, this chord, you're sort of putting this buffer between you and the music, and that's all fear. It's the worst possible place to be, and a lot of time, study gets you out of there. Being more comfortable with the song to where a lot of the moves are automatic and a lot of, let's say, the scale choices are under your fingers can help get you out of there. But that's not exclusively the thing that's going to help. You also need to remind yourself that not fucking up makes you fuck up. So if you find that in performance your brain goes there, you need to find a way in time during the performance to overcome that and graduate to another level of thinking, because that's the most counterproductive. Even when you are trying to just play in time, play with a click, the idea of not fucking up is preemptive. It makes you rush. It puts you ahead of things. You are trying to prevent things, and the only way we can do that when you're trying to stop a disaster from happening is to get ahead of it. So if it's time, you're trying to get ahead of time. And this is why people that want to not fuck up are always rushing. It's the anxiety feeling put into the music. You have to relax. You have to find a way to get out of that mindset and go to the next one. Number 2, why don't they love me? Or I'm gonna make them love me. Let's say you're playing a solo, you're improvising, things are going well, you open your eyes and you look at a bandmate for some sort of sign of approval and you don't get it. And you get in your head because they gave it to you last week in that solo. Why doesn't he love me? I'm gonna try to make him love me. You are opening yourself up to distraction. You're allowing your perception of somebody else's reaction to fuck your shit up. If you're looking at the audience, that's even worse. They have their eyes open because they're watching you. Now you start watching them. Maybe you zone in on 2 people in the front row and you play a lick and they're distracted, or they don't have a reaction. Or maybe they really liked your first solo and this is the second solo of the show and now there is no reaction. You start getting in your own head. You think, what did I do wrong? How come that one worked and this doesn't? You don't know what's going on in their head. Maybe their dog has ass cancer and they came to the show and for a moment they were happy because of the music, but now they're back in their own head. But your assumptions are really opening the doors for the quality of what you're doing to decrease and for you to get more and more distracted. Now, I'm not saying you should always play with your eyes closed. Sometimes you need to communicate things to your band. Sometimes there's something where you are drawing people in and inviting them into the music physically with your eyes open. But those are noble ways of communicating. Fear-based ways or love me kind of ways are really, really bad mind spaces. Way superior to don't fuck up, but still very low on the totem pole of headspaces. Number 3, check this shit out. Now, check this out is also a pretty bad headspace, but it's way better than the first 2. You're already in a place where you're playing with flow. You are inside yourself and you don't allow the flow to get severed by fear and by distraction, by external distraction. The problem is that it's musical autism. In what sense? Well, in the sense that you are not participating in the moment. You are in your practice room and you're trying to export your practice room into the live situation. Let's say you worked out a lot of shit, but all of your licks and all of the lines you worked out don't necessarily relate to the song, to the tempo, to the pocket, to the moment, to the players you're with, to the sound you're getting. You're not willing to make the compromise to the actual situation. You're just trying to do a show and tell type of thing. You made it at home, now you're presenting it to the audience. Nobody wants to see that in the context of improvised music. That's not what it's about. It's way better in the beginning because it might sound good, but it will never have the drama and the excitement of actual great playing because it's pre-made, pre-packaged stuff that you're offloading on the audience. And nobody wants to be dumped on. That's not the idea. People are there to see things spontaneously created in front of them in a jazz show, in a fusion show, even in an improvised rock solo. All the excitement happens with you contending with the reality of the music in front of people. People want to see you shape it. They want to see you make it in front of them. If you find that you're actually copy and pasting from the bedroom, meaning like, I'm going to execute this lick over this chord when it comes, and even if it's at a very, very high level, it's still the wrong game. You are playing the classical music game inside the jazz idiom, and it's not good. It comes off like the Rain Man. Number 4. Do dogs lick themselves to completion? Now this is a very advanced headspace already. Think about it. You're not afraid anymore. You've closed yourself off to external distraction and you don't need the safety net of lick preparation at home. You're improvising, but the door is wide open to internal distraction. You're not in control of your mind. You let it wander. Maybe you're thinking about some fight you had with your wife or girlfriend. Maybe you're thinking about something about your child's life. Maybe you're just thinking, wow, I'm wearing mismatched socks. Or maybe you're thinking about something philosophical like the dog question, right? We all are there. Maybe there's a TV in front of you and you can't help but look at the game while you're soloing. You have got to be in the music. You have got to rein your attention in. Now, it's not hyper-awareness. There's no specific element of the music you need to think of, like note choices or rhythm, but you have to notice if you've drifted away from the song. You have to work from inside of the music and keep drawing your attention in. If you improvise and your mind wanders, bring it back. Quiet it down. 5. Free-floating attention, aka the zone. Why is it called the zone? Well, it's a place you're observing. Think about something you've mastered, like driving. If you're a focused driver, how do you drive? Well, you certainly are not thinking about how hard you're holding the wheel, how fast you pump the brakes or the gas pedal, when exactly to look at the mirrors. All these behaviors are natural, but where is your mind? Well, you're observing, not hyper-focused and not completely distracted. When a situation arises within the organic course of the drive that requires more attention, you observe harder, you concentrate. Let's say the dog that just licked himself to completion is jumping into the road. Well, what do? Maybe then you slam the brakes, right? You pull to the side. Maybe you look in the mirror at the same time to see nobody's behind you. That's like playing with a shitty drummer that skips a beat or a bassist that plays out of pocket, right? You adjust to the situation. Maybe that happens with the one chord you're not exactly sure what to play on in the form, so it needs some extra attention. You put yourself deeper into that situation. But that's the nature of the zone. It's observing from a distance while not allowing distraction. The key thing to remember here is that life and music is not a computer game. It's not like these are 5 levels and you graduate from one to the other and get to the top and always stay there. All roads lead to don't fuck up. Even when you try to play with free-floating attention and then you find that you're like, oh, play with free-floating attention. Don't fuck up free-floating attention. It's like chutes and ladders. You're back to square one. So trying very hard also makes you sink. So this is something that you have to take into performance and just notice. It's not something you can work on at home. You have to put yourself out there in these performance situations and just observe what is happening. Observe when you are less familiar with something, how your mind tells you don't fuck up, and try to contend with that problem in real time as it's happening. That's the only way to get better and to gain control over your mind. If you find that you're not telling yourself don't fuck up, ask yourself, well, am I looking for cues from the audience or bandmates? If that's not happening, ask yourself, am I just waiting for measure 3, beat 3 on the A minor to shoot that lick I worked out at home, right? That's not a good place to be either. If that's not happening, ask yourself, am I distracted? Am I thinking about unrelated things? If I find that I do, how do I come back to the music? I'll give you a pro tip. Just listen. The music is happening. If you can bring yourself to the audience perspective of just hearing it, it will overcome your thoughts and it will be the only thing that exists in your mind. You just got to actually listen to the band you are playing in. And then if all that aligns, you will find that you're just able to observe what's happening as it's happening, as you're doing the thing. You will have more fun, you will be relaxed, and your playing will sound 20 times better, not to mention you'll be fun to watch. Subscribe, hit the like button, definitely leave a comment, and for sure join our Patreon. We'll see you next time.